Hi, my name is Geetha. I am a colorist and the managing director of the Met Grand Salon. Welcome to the first episode of Diary of a Colorist. So today we're going to talk about one of the most popular and possibly most requested service in a salon, the balayage. So what is a balayage? A balayage is actually a French term which means to paint. The technique is to paint, or rather to sweep through lightness to certain parts of the hair to just add a little bit of depth and dimension to give you a sun-kissed natural effect. So typically, it will just be slightly lighter than your base color because the end goal is to have lightness that is just giving you some depth and dimension while finishing off with a very natural look. That term has since transitioned to give you a bit more of a results reference point. More and more stylists are now doing a full balayage. So basically what we're doing is we're giving you the balayage effect but using multiple different techniques. So the balayage is recommended for someone who wants something low maintenance but with a pop of color. If this is your first time, I suggest starting with something very natural and low contrast and with time building up the color. A balayage is basically adding highlights from the midst of your length down right to the end. And it keeps your roots looking very natural. Now, this is perfect for someone who wants something low maintenance, but still wants to see color come through the lengths of your hair. I recommend the balayage. Now, if you're someone who's looking for a lot more brightness and high contrast, then highlights is the best option for you. Highlights are very uniform lines that are isolated in foils and start very close to your root. This will give you, especially if you're dark-haired, a lot more lift, and that will give you a lot more contrast in return. Most common is that the photos that you bring in are actually highlights, but what we do is we blur the demarcation line that comes from having it too close to your root with just the shadow root. So with highlights, because they come up quite high and they're very high contrast, you would find yourself having to do touch-ups more frequently than you would with a balayage. Because 90% of this service does involve bleaching, it is important to ensure that your stylist has your hair health in mind. Now, dark, coarse, or even thick hair will require a lot more intense bleaching, which is why we insist that you include a strengthening treatment using low peroxide and never rush through a color service. So what should you tell your stylist? Now, the best place to start is to bring in reference photos. Color consults are very important before you start a service. Your reference photos will help a stylist understand what is it that you're hoping to achieve, what is it that you like or dislike, and honestly, your reference photo might not even be something that suits you. Now, it is up to your stylist to recommend tones that suit you, understand what your hair needs are, your maintenance, can your hair handle more lightening, which means color history is very important. Your hair texture, because a balayage on curly hair and a balayage on straight hair has completely different techniques. So make sure you cover all the bases before you decide to proceed with a color service. I'm going to leave you with this. Ash brown, ash gray, and ash blonde is not for everyone. So make sure that your stylist picks the best tone possibly for you, because that reference photo that you brought in might not be what that suits you. You can thank me later.